Welcome, welcome. You know, when you get that sunburn and you're like, oh, it's not that bad. And then like days later, you're like, oh, it's actually bad.
I would just like to, get somewhat of a tan and not be this pasty white guy.
Well, I thought I would mow the lawn with just my sports bra, and I have this nice burn across here. And it's actually just the edges that are like owie. And it wasn't like red, you know. I mean, I've got a little red, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, it's at that point you're like, it itches and you touch and you're like, oh yeah, I'm burned back there. Whew, whew. Yeah.
But if you can still sleep at night. Those are the worst when you can't sleep because of the burn.
Well, and then you end up having to sleep wearing I don't when I get burned, I end up wearing like clothes that are tight so that I don't feel the clothes, you know what I mean? If that even makes any sense. All right. So, ah, what do you say we start with some neck?
Sounds great to me.
Excellent. So you've got two tennis balls then,
I see one. I see two.
and you've got a foam roller nearby, right?
Yep.
As we crawl around from today's workout. Excellent, excellent. All righty. Yeah. I've read almost 100 pages. Crazy crap, I tell you. Let's put you back in gallery. Excellent. Okay. So we're going to start with the two balls and we're going to put them right at the nape of the neck, like right where that C7, the bony prominence, sticks out.
Okay.
So go ahead and recline down and put that right underneath that C7. And you kind of want fleshy bits hanging out over the top. And if your ponytail's in the way, you'll want to move that too. So we're just going to simply start by turning our head left to right. So that's just going to pin the tissue there between the ball and your spinous and transverse processes on that neck. So think of making a rainbow up and over. So we're not dropping the nose to the shoulder just yet, just straight across. And if that means you got to kind of slide your head a little bit, trying to make that baby bald spot on the back of our head. All right, so now we're going to drop the chin towards the clavicle and then bring the head back up to the ceiling and then over to the other side down towards that clavicle. So now you're drawing a rainbow with your nose on the ceiling. Boy, on that side, you get that nice little pinchy pinch, really squishing that. Giving you some nice ischemic pressure over there. Couple more each side. Last one here. And then last one here. So we're gonna put our hands on top of the balls and lift up just a little bit and then scooch the balls down. So now it's below that C7. We're gonna walk our feet up towards our glutes and we're just gonna tuck and lift just enough to put a little pressure into those balls. So tuck your tailbone under and a little lift. We're kind of lengthening through those lower attachments of the spinous capitis and cervicis. Those are the muscles that bring our head back into extension. Inhale as you lift and exhale as you lower. Two more. And last one. Walking the feet just a little bit away. We're going to take the hands behind the head and just gently pulling up. So we're not yanking the head, but we are using the arms to pull the weight of the head up to help stretch and elongate. So think of pulling your head up before you pull it over, if that makes sense. So pull your head away from your neck and then down towards your chest. So we're really helping to lengthen those muscles, particularly at that attachment site. Exhaling as we come forward. Two more. And last one. Excellent. So we're going to kind of lift our chest up. We're going to scoot the ball down just a little bit. So you want it kind of in between the shoulder blades. So we are actually going to think of like showing off the girls is the best way to describe it. Just lifting your chest. So you're arching your low back as you roll the balls up towards your head, and then flattening as you roll it down towards the inferior border of your shoulder blades. So we're actually kind of massaging to and through those rhomboid attachments, as well as some of that medial trap. And you may find you got to adjust a little bit. Need smaller balls. My shoulders aren't quite that broad. Need to find those lacrosse balls. Tennis ones are great, but lacrosse gets in there just a little deeper. So arching that thoracic spine to really pin right at the inferior border of the scapula, and then kind of round your shoulders forward. So pressing the shoulders back and then rounding forward. So we're going to incorporate a little bit of internal and external rotation. So having your arms abducted about a fist distance away from your rib. So you're going to come into like those W arms for yoga. And you're going to arch into the W. And then when you come back down, hands towards the belly. So that external rotation as the chest is open. And then back down, kind of tucking the shoulders forward. Really pinning those balls back between the ribs. Woo. Couple more. Last one right here. Excellent. So we're going to kind of come out. Make sure your foam roller's not going to be in the way. We're going to come out into that W and kind of reach our arms out towards the corners of the room and then pull it back down into that W. So we're pinching the balls now between our spine and the spine of the scapula. Really giving some ischemic pressure in there, getting into those middle traps and those rhomboids. Playing with all those muscles that affect the shoulder that can cause these guys back here to be mad. Think of doing that lat pull down. Two more. And last one. Okay, so we're not done messing with those guys. I'm gonna have you roll yourself up just a little bit higher. So kind of lift your hips and slide up just a little bit. So you should feel like they are at that bottom, that inferior angle of your shoulder blades. So that's about C7 or T7. So your thoracic spine, those ribs, 7. So we're just going to roll back and forth here, doing that little motion tucking the tailbone and the ribs. So we're shortening the distance between the ribs and the hips. And then we're sticking our gut out. So we're just rolling that lower portion, those lower traps. And if you want to go into a little bit more intense as you come up, you can lift your hips and then come back down, arch, come up, lift your hips. So your whole body is right there on that at those lower attachments for that lower trap. Remembering to exhale as well as breathe. Very important. Couple more here. And last one. Excellent. Coming up, so we're coming right between, so kind of wiggle your hips side to side to work it down. And you want to kind of imagine where that spine of the scapula is, where the middle traps come and attach. So if you were to reach over your shoulder and feel where the spine of the scapula is, you want that ball right there. So that is where that levator scapula kind of attaches. So if you're not sure if you're in the right spot, if you shrug your shoulders up like you're, I don't know, that's that hole. Yeah, that means you're in the right spot when you shrug your shoulders up to your ears and back down. That we're going to reach forward. So we're going to reach our hands up towards the ceiling and then pull them back into the ground. And then we're going to squeeze them together, pulling the ribs up and away from the floor. Up and away. So again, we're using all those muscles that affect the shoulder and its movement, which in turn affects our neck. We're getting all these guys that are kind of the culprits for making the neck hurt. Couple more here. And last one. Excellent. So we're going to reach those hands forward and we're just going to reach over to one side just enough for you to feel like you're starting to lift off the ball. So almost like the edge of your mat, on that long edge of the mat, and then over. So we're just moving the upper body right to left. Just enough to barely start to lift that shoulder off that ball. Almost like we're walking the shoulders on the ball. 2 more each side. Excellent. So we're going to gently come on up, lifting the head. Oh, moving those balls out from underneath that neck. So we're going to unwind the neck further by having those feet as close to the bottom as possible, but having them a little wider than hip distance. So we're just going to turn the head and neck away from the knees. Windshield wipers with the legs as we wring out, stretch through those muscles a little bit, helping stretch it out by using the lower extremities. Couple more each side. Last one this side. And last one this side. All right, so we are going to use our foam roller now, and we are going to put it at the occiput, so the base of the skull. So lifting the head up, again, making sure your ponytail's out of the way, very important. So that motion that we were doing to lift our spine up off, we're going to be doing that, but this time instead of pushing into the ball, we're pushing into the foam roller. So we're just lifting our head. So if that means you need to adjust it out just a little bit, so when you lift your head, you've got a little bit of motion so it doesn't stop on your shoulders. So you're just going to lift your chin off your chest and then back down. So we're just massaging, lengthening those tissues at the top now. Now where they attach up there at the occiput. Inhaling as we lift, exhaling as we lower. Adjusting that foam roller as necessary. Couple more. And last one. Excellent. So from here, we're going to draw little circles with our nose as we come over to one side. Just using that foam roller to massage those attachments up on that skull. And then change directions as you come back to center, going all the way over to the other side. Again, adjust that foam roller as you need to. Now, when you get to that other side, as far as you can go, change directions coming back to the center. We do that 2 more times. Coming through the center all the way over to the other side. As far over as you can go before you change that direction. Now, once you're over to that side, change directions 1 more time, side to side. Adjusting that foam roller if you need to. And then coming back up. And then all the way back to that center. Now, once you're in the center, we're going to release that foam roller up above the head, keeping the knees bent. We're going to exhale down to the thighs, inhale back up. Exhaling down and back up. Two more. Excellent. So we're going to inhale the arms above the head, releasing that foam roller. We're going to bring the legs closer in, and we're going to actually come up, bringing our opposite hand to the knee, same hand to the ankle, pulling it in, inhaling the arms up, exhaling over to the other side. Inhaling up, exhaling over. Continuing to help stretch out that back. Three more each side. Last two. And last one this side. And last one this side. Excellent. Bringing both knees into the chest. Rolling side to side. Releasing those legs down. Bridge up, shift the hips to one side, roll onto your side, and then we're going to roll over onto our tummies. We're going to take one ball, and you're actually going to put it right on your chest. So find your clavicle, and then think of having a little heart shape there. That's your manubrium. If you move down from your crease here, where the clavicles come together, you'll feel down, and there'll be like a little ledge. You're going to go right below that ledge. So that ledge is your manubrium, and then there's your sternum. So come down just below that ledgy part. And we're going to start there. So you're going to put that ball there, and you're going to come and just gently lean on it. And just using your arms, you're going to just move right to left. So we're just kind of helping to release some of those attachments for our pec major. Shifting right to left. Couple more repetitions. Excellent. And then you're just going to bring your hands back so your elbows are just under your shoulder. You're a little wide, but you're just going to lift and lower. So yes, you are doing some ischemic pressure on that part of your body. Two more. And last one. Excellent. Bring those elbows up underneath you, lift yourself up. You're going to roll it down a little further. So the width of the ball. And from here, you're going to lift and lower the head. So lift and lower. Make sure that movement is coming from the upper body and not so much into the lower back. So to ensure that you're not putting it into your low back, engage your glutes and tuck your bottom under as you come up. So that will limit that movement to more thoracic movement and less low back movement. So think of having your arms in a wide sphinx, if you will. Allowing that ball to kind of roll up and down in that area. Two more. And the last one coming up. Under those arms, you're going to push it down a little more. So you're right there. So depending on the length of your sternum, make sure you're not like at the end of your sternum. And again, we're going to go left to right now that we're a little lower. Arms are about the width of your mat, going that left to right. And then I want you to try to think of doing like jump roping your ribs. So you're going to kind of press into the ball as you come up and around and then lift off of it just a little bit. So think of drawing like circles with it, if you will. And if you need to readjust it, and then change directions. Woo! Finding some owie spots. Yeah, when you're ready, go down a little further. Again, making sure you're not at the bottom of your sternum. We do not want to break off that xiphoid process. So bringing those hands into a modified version of our Sphinx. We're coming up and down, lifting up. Again, the glutes are engaged to protect that lower back, lifting and lowering. Give me 2 more. Yeah, last one. Excellent. Coming off. Pulling that out. Oh, we're going to come to a nice seated position. Grab a drink. And then we'll get to the pec attachments on that clavicle. Which will make side planks so much easier. You're like, oh,
I think
goody.
so.
Oh, goody, side plank.
Yeah.
All right, so you're just going to be drawing circles with your ball. I'll show you over here. So you're just doing that with the ball, smaller, obviously. You're gonna start again at that, where that clavicle comes in. There's that dip, that's the manubrium, the clavicle's right there. As you come up into the bone, that is your pec attachment. So you're gonna start right there at the manubrium, kind of at the base, the butt of your hand, and just pressing in. And you're just gently drawing circles as you come out towards your AC joint. That's right where that clavicle meets the shoulder blade. And it's a good idea to have the arm in and over so it actively shortens it, makes it a little less painful. And then work your way back down. And you can even move from along the clavicle to down just a little bit. So think of like railroad tracks you're making along that clavicle. And again, soften that elbow, turn it in just slightly. So that's also helping to turn off that pec minor, which we'll get to those attachments in a minute. Ooh. Finding some owie bits. Just taking a couple passes. One more time for good measure. Yikes. All right, over to the other side. Again, bring that arm in, kind of let it, have it internally rotated and then just resting. So we don't want that muscle active, just kind of letting that rest there. Same thing, right along that clavicle, butt of the hand, doing it in a nice polish, if you will. And then bringing it back towards that sternum. If you find any owie spots along the way that need some extra love and attention, feel free to get them. Couple more passes. Whew. Found a few that I didn't even realize were there. And last one. Back down to that sternal attachment, which you may find is a little tight, especially if that is your mousing arm. because of the vector of that muscle, using that arm in that way. That one could be a little sore on that right side on you. All right, so we are going to move to the pec minor. So if you were to make these little OK symbols and stick them at your shoulder and drop them in, that's about where your pec minor is. It attaches to your third, fourth, and fifth rib. And so we are actually going to lay on our tummy, have it there, and then we're going to push off with the other hand. So this is the mat. We're going to push off into it. So we're going to come back onto our tummy. I'm going to turn so you can kind of see. And we're going to play with so as I showed you, when your fingers are here, you know, the vector is this way. So if your arm is up here, that's going to allow it to be less active. So we're going to start there and just think of laying down for a second, just to allow your body to kind of sink into it. And to make sure you're in the right place, think of trying to roll your thumb and shoulder into the mat, and you should feel it kind of like engage and push into the ball. And that's when you're like, oh, yep, that's the spot. Okay, from there, that hand that you were just laying your face on, you're going to take it next to that other shoulder and just rock yourself back and forth, right to left. If you feel any numbness or tingly, you may want to bend your elbow and bring it down a little bit more. Just play with that. That pec minor can actually get so tight and taut that it puts pressure on that thoracic nerve and can cause some numbness and tingly in that arm. Okay, we're gonna move that ball down just a tiny bit. So lift up, lower it down. So think of aiming for that fourth rib, taking that hand out so it's not quite perpendicular from the body. The arm's not straight, the elbow is bent. And then shifting that chest away from the floor, pinning that ball with the other side there. Couple more. Excellent. And last one, we're going to take the hand down by the hips like we're in our mountain pose, and then shift that ball down just a little bit. So think of aiming for that fifth rib, if you will. And again, if you're not sure, roll that shoulder forward and you can feel that muscle almost like pop up onto the ball. That's how you know you're there. Hand back at the chest and just that rolling back and forth. So we're broadening the tissues at that spot. Two more. And last one. Excellent. Bending that elbow, bringing the arm in. Ooh, coming into that Sphinx. And just kind of notice the difference between the shoulders, or if there is one, or if it's like, oh my goodness, what am I supposed to be doing? How do I stabilize here? That's always a possibility. All right, over to the other side. I'm gonna turn. So again, we're starting right at the top. Remember where we did our little smoke thing there, that third rib. The hand is up. If you've got a question, pick me, pick me. Other hand, we're just resting it on our face for just a moment. Again, turn that shoulder in. Make sure you feel it popping up into that ball and that third rib. When you're ready, take that hand by the chest and just rolling yourself back and forth onto that ball. Soft bend in the elbow, like you're prepping for a lat pull down. Two more. Excellent. Adding down towards that fourth rib, pulling the arm down just a little bit. Same thing, check when you roll that shoulder in. Woo. If you feel a little nerve stuff, you may want to move more laterally, more distally, more towards that hand. There you go. Okay, pressing up. Again, we're just broadening that tissue. Use your whole body. Two more. And last one. Woo. Coming up, moving it down to that fifth rib. Arm comes down as if towards that mountain pose. Same thing, roll that shoulder in. Make sure you're still on some of that pec minor. There it is. And then gently pressing up and away. Palm is facing that floor. Last two. Last one. Excellent. Coming up off that ball. Ooh, bring the arms under. Holding in that Sphinx pose. Whew. Little left to right. Oi. And let's bring those hands back by the chest, coming up into some cobra. Little left to right. Bending those elbows just a little bit. Make sure you're not dumping into your back. Excellent. And releasing down, pushing all the way up. Let's grab a drink. Kind of sit back in and towards your heroes. I don't like heroes. Heroes don't like me. Woo! All those extra lunges and squats today. Woo. All right. Let's make use of our newly found pec and neck muscles, shall we? So let's start with a simple flow from our child's pose to a plank, all the way down, coming back up and pushing back. Nice and easy flow. Exhaling back, inhaling forward, exhaling down, inhaling up and away. One movement, one breath. Nice starfish fingers. Last two. And last ones. Excellent. Coming forward, kind of in our cat and cow, but our hands are a little more forward as if you were going to put your face in. So we are going to open up side to side. Nice little kneeling plank. Coming down and through our cat and cow over to the other side. Just shifting side to side. Staying on that kneeling plank. So let's add another level, still keeping that knee down, but we're going to lift that top leg up and over. Circle sweeping the arm down, knee comes down, lifting up and over. Circle sweeping the arm down, bringing the leg down. Coming over, lift that leg, circle sweep the arm down as we drop the knee down. Other side, lift, circle sweep down. Couple more each side. Last one this side. And last one this side. Excellent. So we're going to shift over and we're going to straighten that bottom leg and then lower that bottom leg. Come down over to the other side. Set it up. Come out of that bottom leg, arching up and over, and then bring that knee back and down. Over to the other side. Set it up. Think up and over. Bottom leg comes behind, coming back and down. And over. Set it up. Bottom leg comes behind, up and over with that rib cage. I don't know about you, I seem to be crawling closer to the top of my mat. Two more each side. Last one on this side. And last one on this side. Excellent. So we are going to push back into child's pose for just a couple of breaths here. Coming up, we're going to load those feet, engage the toes. So we are going to lift the knees. So we're in our beast. And then we're going to push back into down dog. Push forward into plank. Lower the knees and release down. Pushing back up. Engage the feet. Lift up into that plank. Push back into down dog. Hover the knees into beast. Back into down dog. Coming forward. Drop the knees, release the feet. Coming all the way down. And back up. Engage the feet. Back into plank. Pushing back into that down dog. Pressing into those heels. Bend the knees, gently look up between the hands as if you were going to jump, but we're not. Straighten those legs again. Coming forward into that plank. Lower the knees, release the feet. Coming down. And back up. Engage the feet. Back into that plank. Pushing back into that down dog. Dropping the knees into that beast, looking between the hands. Coming back into down dog. Forward into plank. Dropping the knees, releasing the feet. coming down. And back up. Engage the feet. Back into plank. Back into down dog. Bending the knees, looking between the hands. Straightening the legs back into that down dog. Forward into plank. Release the knees, release the feet. Lowering down. And back up. Last one. Woo. Engage the toes. Straighten the legs. Push back into down dog. Into beast, looking up between the hands. We're gonna stay here for several breaths. So adjust those hands if you need to. Pressing in, stretching through the feet. Think of lengthening through the spine, shoulder blades back and down. As you exhale, lengthen up into that down dog. Walking the hands up just a little bit so you can press those heels into the floor. Nodding the head yes. Shaking the head no. Nodding the head yes one more time. So bringing the hands just a little bit closer together. We're going to extend one hand to the opposite ankle. Two more breaths. Bringing that hand out, walking the hands forward, come forward into that plank, just enough to release those shoulders for a moment. Staying on those toes. Two more breaths. Excellent. Walking it back into that nice down dog. Taking the opposite hand to the other leg. Three-point dog. Bring the hand forward, walking it forward, coming down onto the knees, releasing the feet, holding in this kneeling plank here. Walking the hands back just a little bit more, as if we're going to do a tricep push-up. But we're going to go into our nice crocodile. So we are actually going to hover, hugging the ribs with the body, with the elbows. Shoulders down your back. 3, 2, 1, releasing the chest down and coming up to and through into our cobra. Oi. And as you exhale, slowly release all the way down to the floor. Woo. Coming onto one side. Pushing yourself up to grab a drink, and then we will Shavasana. Great job. Oi. So you have the option, you can just go into a normal Shavasana, or you can use your foam roller to continue to open that stretch. When using the foam roller, you want your hips to be able to be on there and your head fully supported if you are indeed using that foam roller. I find it best to almost do a bridge up onto it and then lay back and down and make sure that head's on there. Whew. Make sure you don't roll on your ponytail either. Having your feet mat width apart, a little wider than hip distance as well, so you don't roll off to one side or the other. As you exhale, imagine your chest opening and your arms just melting into the floor. Few more breaths here. As you prepare to go to the floor, get your hair out of the way, and then you'll just roll to one side, roll off of your foam roller. But don't let it get away from you. You're going to take it, press it down to your side. I'll put it on this side. And then lift your hips up and over. You're going to take the opposite leg over, let it rest on that foam roller. And you can either have the arm open, depending on your flexibility, or have your hand on your rib cage to support your chest and shoulder. On your next exhale, bend that knee, bring it all the way up and around. Bring those feet up, bridge up and over, shifting your hips. Foam roller over to the other side. And then roll over, supporting that leg on the foam roller. Again, you have the option to hand on the ribs or on the floor, depending on your shoulder flexibility. On your next exhale, bend that knee, bringing yourself back to center. Bringing those knees in one at a time, rolling side to side to massage that lower back. When you're ready, release those feet to the floor. Shift your hips to the left so you can roll onto your right side using your arm, either having your hand underneath your head or your arm extended. Support that head and neck, laying on that right side, taking the weight of the body off of the heart. On your next exhale, using that left hand, you're going to push yourself up to a comfortable seated position. And slowly begin circling around. Resting those hands on the knees. Two more. And last one this direction. Change your feet. Change directions. 2 more this direction. And last one coming up, shrug those shoulders, squeeze, 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 and rolling back and around, press out to the front, tucking that tailbone under, and bring it up and around, squeeze, 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 pressing out and away. You're opening some doors in the elevator. And last one, up and around, pressing yourself through the door, turning the hands over, a big breath in. Breathing in one for the mind, exhaling to the side. Breathing in one for the body, exhaling to the other side. And breathing in one for the spirit, bringing the hands, heart center. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Have a fabulous evening. Great job. How you feeling?
Feeling good. Now time to go make some dinner for everyone. You have a good day, and we'll see you in the morning.